Mike's Daily Podcast.
episode 985. Hello, it is Mike Matthews broadcasting from Cafe Anyway, located somewhere in Podcastro Valley, Mont, in the last place on earth. Today it's the return of the much-loved news feature, Matthews News. Plus we hear from Madame Rootabega, Valentino, and Bison Bentley. And we look at some things.
Mike's Daily Podcast.
That include the fact that there's new cereal podcasts. Woo.
Mike's Daily Podcast.
So as I am warm in my bed, listening to the hail falling, a nagging thought in my mind came calling, saying there was something odd and a bit appalling. Why wasn't the sup pump hauling water out and making that loud flushing sound?
Mike's Daily Podcast.
I always hear that when the walls of water are falling down,
Mike's
which never happens
Daily
here in California.
Podcast.
Water coming out of the sky.
Yeah!
So I went outside at 4 a.m. and I saw the sup pump was broke. Thankfully, your host was smart enough not to stick his hand in the water to fiddle with the pump, since that would have been, I'd be talking to you after my electrocution death. You gotta be slightly smart to own a house. What was weird was, I heard that the sup pump wasn't working at 2 a.m. when the water was falling from the sky, the hail, there was some lightning, and Californians so happy we're getting some water finally. Of course, they're just going to tell us it's not enough. You're still in a drought, so don't use any water ever. Don't drink water. Don't leave California now is what they're going to tell us. Oh, before you do that, pay your property taxes, which are through the roof. So I heard that the sup pump wasn't working, and in my mind, I'm thinking about it, and then I dream. And you ever do that when you're thinking about something, and then when you dream, you actually then create a whole scenario? Like, I was in some weird, harbor, and there was, a hole in the ground, and I was opening up the hole, which is basically what the sup pump is, in this hole that's got water in it. And basically, if the water doesn't leave this hole, at some point, my garage is going to start to get water seeping in. So that's the whole point of the sup pump. But I'm dreaming about it in this dream, and then I see members of my ex-wife's family, because I guess I've been thinking about them. I was talking about them last show, along with talking about the whole thing. Now I'm going to start sniffing. Haley was sniffing a lot in the shows recently, and I'm doing it too. It's just crazy. But yeah, so all that was, and then I get up and then I see that in fact what I was dreaming about has come true, and the sup pump isn't working. Yes, that's a part of. I didn't even know what a sup pump was till I got to California, which is odd, of all places to have sup pumps. But we need them here when it rains. Oh, look, who just walked in. Hello, Michael Matthews, this is Madame Rootabega, and I am totally into some podcast cereal. Yes, Serial, great show. I didn't listen to it at all last season. I started listening to the first season, and it starts off, it's all about Bowe Bergdahl. What, Bowe Bergdahl? No, you want to say that in your mind, but it's a Bergdahl. And it talks about the switch off between him and the prisoners that we had. And I guess they're going to go into each episode, going more and more into his story, which is simultaneously on Capitol Hill, the Republicans are trying to create another Benghazi out of this and go further into why were these 5 prisoners exchanged for him when he there's some questions about what happened at his post. Did he leave his post? And Donald Trump saying he should be executed. He actually said Bowe Bergdahl should be executed because he's a traitor. Yeah, because That's what Trump does, is say sensible things like that. And then there's the whole... this podcast going on simultaneously, along with what's happening actually in Washington, D.C., this may be even the numbers for the last serial, which I forget what that was about. Some case somebody was unfairly charged with committing a murder, and I think that's what it was. Anyway, you probably know because everybody apparently listened to it. It was one of the most listened to podcasts of all time. It was the most listened to, downloaded podcast of all time. So this one will probably break records because it seems to be a lot more timely, the subject matter. And that's the thing about podcasts, is still the explaining to people what it is. And I was having lunch with a friend of mine that I've only done 2 plays in my life. One of them was a Shakespeare play. That was the first one. And I did that back in college. And I'm still friends with a guy that was in the play with me. And he stayed in theater all these years. And we had a fantastic conversation. We had breakfast in downtown Pleasanton at this place where the walls have the paneling like a 70s place, the rumpus room. And we had big omelets, the both of us, in the middle of the afternoon, and chatted and talked for hours. And he asked me a lot of questions about podcasts. He's fascinated by podcasts, but he doesn't quite get what mine is about. He's never listened to it, and I can't explain this podcast. I guess it's just me talking. Mike Talks, which is also my handle on Twitter and Facebook, which you can reply and contact me on. And we read your comments on the section, emails from email, and your comment, not so comments. My email, mikesdailypodcast@gmail.com. So we discussed podcasts. He wants to do something similar in the vein of Serial, where he tackles interesting topics. Like, apparently, in the little town of Danville, which is just not so little anymore, it has a huge population. It's in the East Bay, but a nice little downtown area. It's apparently got this interesting history. Back in the 60s, a plane crashed into Danville. It crashed apparently somebody got into the pilots, into the cockpit, and killed the pilots. I never even heard of this, but it's one of the most amazing stories that took place in Danville that nobody remembers. And what was an interesting angle on the story that my friend Eric was talking about was how many people don't know about this story. And he's actually written a play about it. We'd be awesome if we could have him on and talk to him into an interview about this whole play that he wrote, which at some point I'm sure he'll perform, because he is a director. He's a director for a theater in downtown Danville, and he also acts still years after we did that play together. So he followed the theater path. I'm so happy for that. And I forgot to ask him about the movies that are out right now, because I have no idea. Last year, at least, I knew some of the movies that were being nominated for the Academy Awards. They haven't announced that yet, but they announced the Golden Globes. And I listened to the nominations for the Golden Globes this year. I had no idea. The only one that sticks out is Sylvester Stallone. He's in that Creed movie. And in the rest, I had no idea what these movies were. So out of the loop. So, Madame Rootabega, have you seen any movies?
No, mostly I just listen to Serial, and I sit in my room and drink tea.
Sounds good. Look who else just walked in.
Hello there, Mike. This is Valentino, the parking attendant.
And this is Bison Bentley. Do you know that?
Mike, so today you've got the Matthews News Day, and then is Kevin coming in?
Yes, we're going to hopefully have addendum with Kevin a little bit later on, and we'll find out some interesting things going on with him. But let's get to the wonderful Matthews News.
Matthews News.
So, the interesting thing about ISIS, which, to the point, which with Warren Olney, who I was mentioning that show earlier this week, he was talking about the sustainability of ISIS and how they're running out of money. They basically steal a bunch of stuff, and sell that. And, they've stolen oil wells and whatnot, and they're selling the money, selling the oil, getting the money from that to keep them going. But they kill so many people that they just basically, they're running out of, you need people to keep you going, and they're just killing everybody. So how are they going to keep going? A group that's controlled that much with hate can't seem to last that long. But the ISIS terror group and the Syrian government of Bashar al-Assad have engaged in, quote, millions and millions of dollars of trade, despite being at war with each other, a top U.S. Treasury official said yesterday. The Treasury's acting Undersecretary for Terrorism and Financial Intelligence, Adam Zubin, said that while some of the oil produced in ISIS-held areas was able to make its way to Kurdish-held areas and Turkey, the far greater amount ended up under Assad's control. Zubin did not estimate the monetary value of the oil trade between ISIS and Assad. However, in remarks prepared for delivery at the Chatham House International Affairs think tank in London, Zubin noted that ISIS was selling as much as $40 million in oil per month and had made more than $500 million in black market sales. And so that is how they are trying to stay in. But it's funny, if Assad didn't buy any of their oil, he could finally end this war that he's trying to have. And, the Russians are trying to help Assad. We hate Assad because of what he did to his people with the chemical warfare. Then, this interesting story.
Going upstate's my destination. Handcuffed in back of a bus. 40 of us. Life as a shorty shouldn't be so rough. But as the world turned, I learned life is hell.
This was given to me by Haley. Is Bill Murray legally allowed to try and steal the Wu-Tang album for Martin Shkreli? Bill Murray looks to be the only man alive that can wrestle the lone copy of Wu-Tang Clan's Once Upon a Time in Shaolin from the clutches of Martin Shkreli. And then in this article, Riza says, of Wu-Tang Clan, says, we're really getting the urge to call Bill Murray. Shkreli, the pharmaceutical CEO who hiked a crucial HIV drug price well over 5,000%. Yes, he is a douche. He raised the price from $13.50 to $750 per tablet. Was the buyer of the only copy of the fabled Wu-Tang record. You may have heard that the Wu-Tang Clan, they made an album, and they said, we're going to sell it. It's just this one album. Only one person will have the album. And apparently this a-hole bought it. It has a storied past with various celebrity buyers keen on the LP, which was sealed in a vault in Morocco while a buyer was sought. See, I thought they sold it long ago. Fans were unable to raise the funds to buy the album, which only 2 people in the world have heard. Shkreli reportedly hasn't even bothered to listen to it yet because he's a douche. So it was sold at auction for an alleged $1.3 million. Shkreli, probably the closest thing planet Earth has to a Bond villain right now. This according to the line of bestfit.com, has turned out to be a remarkably laissez-faire person about the whole drugs price scandal, and he claimed he dropped the price but so far hasn't done so. He has been even more nonchalant about the album, and upon the news breaking yesterday, he live streamed his workday. Okay, but there's yet another twist in this already fascinating tale. The contract, which stipulates that the album cannot be made public for 88 years, interesting, that would be 2103, may revert to the original seller thanks to a genuinely strange clause. The buying party also agrees that, the contract reads, at any time during the stipulated 88-year period, the seller may legally plan and attempt to execute one heist or caper to steal back Once Upon a Time in Shaolin, which, if successful, would return all ownership rights to the seller. Said heist or caper can only be undertaken by currently active members of the Wu-Tang Clan and or Bill Murray, with no legal repercussions. So Bill Murray may end up having it. Gosh, Bill Murray, is he not? I just saw a guy walking down the street with a Bill Murray t-shirt. As we go outside a cafe anyway, we bring you Mike's Daily Podcast somewhere in Podcastro Valley. Oh my gosh, look who's here.
Addenda with Kevin.
I just realized... Is the sound of me slurping my coffee bad? But we are in a cafe.
Yeah, we're outside the cafe now, though. We're outside on the patio.
Check.
So I told that whole story.
Some more headphones, please. In 3. Check. And thank you.
We have our headphones plugged into this tree stump, and that's how we're able to hear ourselves. Because we're outside.
Okay.
Use your imagination!
Well, it is technically plugged into wood.
No, Kevin's like, no, this is a $700,000 studio.
Yeah.
And you have little airplane earphones in your ear, Mike.
Exactly.
I told the whole long story about the sub pump. I want to say sub pump, like subprime. Sup pump.
Your sub pump mortgage. Through Cash Call.
Oh, yeah, that's a commercial we play a lot on our business talk station. I forgot to... So, and I mentioned the dream, because I was trying to fix the problem in my head, and then I went into a dream, and then I sounded like a Beatles song, and then there's a Beatles song that says something about going into a dream. Okay, then I was trying to fix a sub pump in a harbor, like with water everywhere, like I'm trying to get the water out of the... But then you mentioned, when I saw you just moments ago, which is right now,
yes,
that you used to fix the bilge pumps.
Yeah, the bilge pumps. When I used to work for the city of Fremont, you'd always have to, basically, it's at the bottom, that's where the bilge pump is, at the lowest point, or water would collect. It was just a magnet for water, dirt, gunk, garbage, plastic doodads floating through the air. I imagine at your house would be a whole bunch of beer cans,
Yeah, beer cans everywhere, just discarded.
Yeah.
Underwear with the elastic
broken
not
elastic,
working anymore. Just littered.
You just throw them out the door, out the window.
Yeah.
In dramatic fashion. Yeah. I mean, there's not a lot going on. There's a float switch, which basically tells the pump to go on or off, and then there's the impeller. Unless the impeller or the motor are broken, there's no real reason you can't fix it yourself.
Oh, okay. Kevin is a get-it-done kind of guy.
I try.
The man, if there's something wrong, he'll fix it. Check out this beat as my DJ revolves it.
Yes.
I don't think I quoted that lyric right. Ice
if
Ice
there's
Baby.
a problem, I'll solve that. Check out this beat when my DJ revolves it.
That's right. I missed a fun party on Saturday night, sounds like.
Yeah, we did. We had a ton of fun. More fun than I should have had, if I'm honest.
Wow.
It was so great.
You had a prohibition party.
Yes, we did, at 21A, where I work. We had our prohibition party, which is, everyone was dressed like it was, the 30s when prohibition was ended. When they signed the 21st Amendment on December the 5th, 1933.
Wow.
Fact of the day. After that, we cleaned up. We closed early that day because we had this big party. We got invited down to another brewery in San Leandro. I'd love to go. Yeah, sure, let's go. With all my very, very pretty coworkers. Don't mind if I do. Not at all. Let's go.
I think that's amazing. All these guys make beer in San Leandro, and there's so many. And you have to go on the weekend because Cleefus is not open during the week.
Yeah.
So Cleefus,
Yeah, so we went to that one, Cleefus. We had a lot of their new beers. We had their Milk Stout, which is very good. We had their Quad, which was impressive.
Why is it called a quad?
I believe it's fermented 4 times over, or at least that's what I've always been under the impression of. It's either that, but I don't think anyone really does it. I think it's just a really strong beer. It was like 13.9%.
Oh,
it was a heavy hitter.
Oh, I wouldn't have been able to walk out the door at that point.
Yeah, it was. Well, luckily we had a lot to eat. They basically barbecued like 140 whole chickens, beer can type chickens.
How were the beer can chickens?
Excellent. They were excellent. And we didn't sell 5 or 6 of them. You always have to have a little bit extra. So they just cut cut it up into quarters and put it all out for the employees and said, "Go nuts!"
And what was the other cool thing you guys were gonna make? The beer can chicken.
Oh, we did a brat simmered in Back in Black IPA.
Who did this? Who made that?
We got our chefs to come down from the city, from our pub in the city.
Oh,
yeah, we
wonderful.
I think it was the B team come down and they barbecued on like 4 barbecues. They're huge ones. They were seriously like 4 feet. They were those like tabletop grills, 4 feet by like 8 feet long. They had 4 of them just going all day. I think we ordered like well over 600 pounds of charcoal.
Wow.
We were just going and going and going all day long.
Dang it, Kevin. I so was going to go over there.
Did I tell you about the Slovakian girl incident?
No.
Okay. So I'm at Cleophas having my milk stout. Then, okay. And then I should say, actually, right after that, I had the quad, and they had a food truck outside. And this very attractive young blonde lady comes up to me, and she's got this thick accent and very Eastern European. And she's going, "What are you drinking?" Like, you just literally stepped up right now. "What are you drinking?" I'm having the quad. "Yeah, where I'm from, we drink those kinds of beers all the time." She's getting like what I would call like aggressively flirty. And I was like, you know what, I'm from, blah, blah, blah. And I'm telling her, and she's like laughing at all my jokes really loud. And I'm going, okay, hang on. I've been in this situation before. Hang on, something's up. And she's like, blah, 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 blah. And his, does my accent sound familiar? I was like, I guessed Ukraine. She's like, "Oh, you're so funny, you're so smart. See, I'm from Slovakia. We're very close to Ukrainians, blah, 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 blah." And I'm going, "Oh, cool, yada, yada. So what are you doing here? Just hanging out by yourself?" And she went, then she points. Now, you're going to have to bleep this out after. You're going to put a marker here.
F8. Get ready for F8.
Here we go. And she goes, because, I'm thinking, okay, this is, hey, maybe this is going to go really well for me. And she goes, "My asshole husband outside runs food truck. I have to stay here all day long." I was like, oh, I see exactly what's going on here.
Oh, Kevin.
Came outside, got aggressively flirty. In other words, "Look at me, asshole husband."
I'm talking to this guy at the bar.
I'm talking to this guy who's, and we were in our formal wear, so we looked nice.
Yeah.
I thought we looked nice.
You posted pictures on Facebook.
Yeah, the whole 9 yards. We looked nice. And I was like, okay, I know this situation. I'm not leaving here with if I pursue without a black eye, some missing teeth, and our coworker Russ had mentioned possibly dead. Yeah, so let me just steer clear of that whole disaster.
Yeah. That Slovakian thing you don't want to. I've met some other blonde, like that kind of Russian accent. I don't know where they're from exactly. I mean, I know it's a big, complicated part of the world. But I was walking Basel, and all of a sudden this huge Chevy truck, with the boosted up and everything and the big tires, stops, and the window rolls down, and this beautiful blonde goes, "That's a beautiful dog. What kind of dog is that?" And I'm like, "It's a boxer."
It's better than mine.
She's like, "Oh, can I come out and pet it?" I'm like, "Yes." She gets out. She basically has to take a parachute to get out of the truck. And then she comes over, pets Basil, and the door's open, and I see the guy driving the car.
Oh, boy.
And she's like, "That's my boyfriend. He lives in Tracy." And he's like, "Hello." And he's also like Russian. I think she said she was Russian, and she and him. We ended up talking for like 15 minutes. Nice people. She's beautiful. Apparently, she lives up the street from me. But I'm like, the Bay Area has a huge, Eastern Europe population.
I don't know why. I don't know when that happened, but I mean, it's awesome to have them here.
Maybe because we're so close to Russia.
Wait, what? Well, yeah, it's a hop, skip, and a jump, Mike.
Were we owned by Russia at one point?
Alaska? No.
Sarah Palin says she can see Russia from here. Oh, no, that was Alaska.
Yeah.
No. There is some sort of... I don't have a history book in front of me, but I know there's some connection.
Yeah, I mean, but I was like, wait...
That's so funny.
I mean, what is it that makes someone want to go, "I live in Moscow, I must come to America"? You don't go to New York City. You don't go to Dallas or Miami.
You want
No.
it where the sunshine is.
Yeah, Castro Valley. Sure. Yeah, I don't know how you picked it, but go for it.
Podcastro Valley.
Yes.
And then, I was going to say she was needing a green or a citizenship.
Did you talk to the boyfriend or just her?
Him briefly.
Okay. Yeah. Did he have that really PO'd look on his face?
A little bit, yeah.
Okay. I'm sure he's not stupid. He knows kind of what's going on. Oh, we're going to play this game. It's going to be a long night.
And then you went to Drake's.
Yes. So, because I work with the most ridiculously pretty young ladies at 21A, I'm not Facebook friends with them. They're not going to hear this. We get a phone call at like 11:30 or at least one of the young ladies did, and said, hey, we're over here drinking after hours. Do you want to come over? And she said, well, I'm with everybody from 21A. And he goes, bring them all down.
Oh,
and
wow.
we went there and had a blast and a half. I mean, all the best beers they have there. And they're a tremendous brewery if you've never been out there. Really big props to those guys. If you haven't been to Drake's Barrel House in San Leandro or to the dealership in Oakland, you're missing out.
Interesting thing about Drake's, their original logo was a ship because they were named after Sir Francis Drake, whom I did a report on back in elementary school.
Nice.
But also, they then switched that logo to the Drake duck.
The duck.
The duck.
mallard.
So you get those ducks symbols everywhere. It's awesome.
Yeah, it's very clever. They put it all over the place.
And as you sit outside of Drake's drinking your beer, you will see planes landing at the Oakland airport, but the private plane section. So, Taylor Swift's flying over in her jet and all that.
Well, also, they have Hayward Hayward Executive Airport down there, which is where all the little guys go to as well.
Yes. That would be, though, on the other side. Wouldn't it be closer to the... I'm not going to discuss geography with you.
Let me get my atlas out.
That's closer to Chabot College. I want to tell you, we should... next time, I hope I because you called me.
I did.
And invited me.
I kind of sort of woke you up. You were kind of half in the bag when I called you.
I was so tired, and I had drank... a toaster pastry from 21st Amendment, canned. And I was not, feeling of getting up. But had I known that so much... what I should have done was come down there earlier while you were doing your prohibition thing.
Yeah.
And thank you for introducing me to the owners. Last week we talked about how they were going to be coming over to the stations, and they were there, and they were awesome.
They were swell dudes.
And I posted a picture.
Yes, I saw it.
Oh, and speaking of today's podcast picture...
And here's today's podcast picture.
Is I don't know what, so why did I even bring it up?
I don't know. Because we're going to take it. We're going to take that awesome photo.
What? Should I take it?
Yeah.
Take it of something.
We'll figure it out.
Okay.
We got time to go.
Okay. I'm going to say what that picture is right after I say thank you, Kevin, for being on the show.
Thank you very much for having me here at Cafe Anyway.
Mike, it's Mikey Fikey. Great.
The podcast picture is of the abominable snowman and the guy, that one with the beard, not Santa from Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer of claymation stop motion Christmas special that we all grew up with. Somebody put both those characters on their front lawn with some cute little Christmas tree decorations. You can see that holiday-esque picture at mikesdailypodcast.com. That is someone's house in Alameda on Thompson Street. If you go there, that is where you will find a bunch of every single house on this street on Thompson. I forget what streets, but you can find it just if you... Thompson doesn't go that far in Alameda. Anyway, check it out. If you want to see some, and you're in the Bay Area, see some cool Candy Cane Lane type thing, get you in the holiday mood, bring the whole family. All right, enough of a plug for them. See that at mikesdailypodcast.com. Also at mikesdailypodcast.com if you want to help us out. If you're going to do any holiday shopping on Amazon, click on that Amazon link at mikesdailypodcast.com, and that helps us out. And there is this.
Mike's Yuletide personalized MP3 for thee contest.
If you want a special greeting from all the Cafe Anyway characters, just write us at Mike's Daily Podcast at gmail.com, or you can comment on the Facebook page, the Twitter page, links to the Tumblr page, links to all those pages there at mikesdailypodcast.com. If you send us a greeting, a holiday greeting of any kind, we will send you a Yuletide personalized MP3 for thee. Next show, it is going to be the return of the much-loved segment called Into an Interview. And we'll be speaking with the San Francisco band called CONRAD the Band. Some cool sort of electro music for you. And that's his next show, Get You Dancing. We'll also hear from Chely Shoehart, Floyd the Floorman, and John Deere the Engineer.
Mike's Daily Podcast is written and produced and performed by Mike Matthews. His podcast is super easy to find. Download or listen to his show and read his blog at mikesdailypodcast.com. Email Mike now at mikesdailypodcast@gmail.com. See you tomorrow. Bye!